Okay, hey, what's up, guys? This isn't going to work out very well because I can't switch the camera. Maybe I can. Anyway, I just want to start off by saying something real quick here. Thank you for all the likes and support. Like, not only is it the likes that are cool, but it is also the, it's not just the likes that are really cool, it's that people are getting active on our page, liking things, commenting. So we love to hear from you guys. We love it when you engage with us on Facebook. So thank you for that. Also, I kind of wanted to just do like a pay it forward thing. And the lighting in here is terrible. Anyway, I just wanted to do like a pay it forward thing. Jamie from Stonemaier Games gave us kind of a cool shout out, so I really appreciate that. So I'm going to do a little spotlight on one of his games that not a lot of people know about. So let's see if I can get this to switch cameras here for me. How do I switch cameras? There we go. This one? Is this one going to do it? Hey, there we go. So this is my board gaming table / dining room table, and this is the game that I want to do a spotlight on tonight. This game is none other than Euphoria. Build a better dystopia. So the story in this game is Stonemaier Games is notorious for their awesome game, Viticulture. That game is indeed awesome. I think I said it 3 times already now, but it came out and it wasn't super awesomely reviewed as being the great game we think of it as now. It was viewed as being a good game. And then in like about 2014 or 15, Tuscany came out and some modifications were made in the base game, and we got Viticulture Essential Edition, which is the base Viticulture we think of now, and now we have Tuscany as well in there, Essential Edition and all that good stuff. And Viticulture is an awesome game. And Viticulture is number 22, and Scythe is I think number 8 on Boardgame Geek. So I kind of get a laugh out of when people say Jamie Stonemaier is not a great designer. They say he's a great businessman, not a great designer. I get such a laugh out of that. He is an amazing designer. And he has 2 top 25 games. So I think him and like Uwe Rosenberg are probably the only 2 guys that have 2 top 25 games, if I had to guess. There might be another one out there, maybe, but I don't even think Feld has that going. I think his games are all really high, but I don't think he has 2 top 25s. I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can check on that for me. But Jamie has 2 top 25s. This game, though, is not a top 25 game. And Charterstone is not a top 25 yet. I'm not sure if Charterstone's going to end up top 25. I certainly think it'll end up top 200, maybe top 100. It's a pretty cool game. But this is Euphoria, and this game came out between Viticulture and Tuscany. And this is a game that is really pretty neat. The theme on it is kind of like we're in a dystopian future, and there's all this different stuff happening on the board here. So let's just take a little tour here. Euphoria is the name of the game. And then up here we got the first faction, and I'll talk a little more about them, but there's a bunch of worker placements. And then there's these little, like, this thing that shows up on the board several places. It's kind of like almost like a star pattern. It's like plots of land that you can get. And then down here we have some different placements that you can get. And then there's these are really cool. These are like blueprints on here, like plans for buildings that you're going to make. And basically, then down here we have these 4 tracks, okay? And that's the main board. There's some other worker placement spots you can go, like commodity spots and things like that. But basically each the 3 factions has kind of the same thing going on for them, for their own particular kind of commodity. Then as a player you get all these stars. So every Stonemaier game has stars in it, it seems like. So these stars actually started in this game, and then they bled into Tuscany and then into Scythe. This heart, too, might look familiar to people who are big fans of Jamie's games. And then we also have this guy here, this little like brain-looking dude. So these go on these tracks up here. So I'm going to put this on this guy on this track here, and I'm going to put this heart up here on this top track. And those are tracks that keep track of how smart our people are and how high morale is. And so we want morale to get higher because that's going to allow me to hold more cards in my hand. which we'll get to in a second. But then this also is like a modifier for like having an additional die when I roll die, which most of the time you'd be super. You guys can hear my dogs back there, can't you? Most of the time when you roll an additional die, you'd be super excited about it. You'd be like, oh man, that'd be awesome to have an additional die or an additional number. But this is actually, the theme of this game is you're like almost like a cult leader. And you're trying to keep your followers kind of stupid and in the dark. And so when you roll your die, you don't want your people to, the amount of intelligence your followers have is indicated by the number of pips on your die. So these die, if I have one thing to be critical of in this game, if I have two things to be critical of in this game, one of them is that these die, I mean, you roll them like 10 times, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's a 6 and that's a 4, and it's pretty easy, like because you count the little holes in the gears, and that's a 3, a 2, a 4, a 1 right here. But it takes just a little like hash, like just a bit of a second to maybe like understand what's exactly going on with these die. So that's the only thing I'm critical of at all in this game, component-wise. Otherwise, the components are awesome in this game, perfect. So this is the game. I wanted to talk about this game real quick just because this is one that doesn't get the love that Viticulture and Scythe get. But I think, in my opinion, it has some things that are more interesting than either of those games. So this one's one that you can definitely pick up on Boardgame Geek and trade fairly easily. It's still in print. You can definitely get it. And I'm hoping that Jamie can maybe like make a comment or two on this video later on if he ends up getting wind of it or whatever, that he maybe can make corrections on some stuff, or maybe can like correct my backstory where I think this came out between when Viticulture like made Stonemaier this amazing company that is renowned now for making just good games, and when they were still kind of in their infancy. So I'm going to tell my own personal story about this game real fast before I really get into gameplay. Right here's the box again, Euphoria. When I was at Gen Con in about 2013, maybe 14, Cool Stuff had a ton of these games there. I mean, an absolute ton that had gotten damaged. And they were marked down to like maybe $35 or $30, and I didn't buy one then. I just didn't. I skipped it. I thought it looked kind of neat, but I didn't know anything about it. And I actually, the full story is, I thought about getting one. There were about 10 of them on the Ding and Dent. So if you've ever been to Gen Con, you know they have like the little scratch and dent area. Well, I was going to get one. I went and looked around a little bit, and when I came back, they were all gone. So people bought this out fairly quickly. So there was a time when people did, think, hey, this is kind of a neat game and want to buy it. And I just don't feel like, I think with the Cult of the New and stuff, we kind of have forgotten a little about this game. Well, anyway, let me keep going here. If you have any questions or anything, I am live, so I can see your comments in real time, more or less, and give you some feedback and some updates on stuff. But I'm just going to go through the like different play areas and give you a real brief like why this game's good and like kind of how you play it. Your workers are these dice that I already mentioned. So what's going to happen is you're going to roll these dice, and I had an awesome roll. So you might not think rolling a 2 and a 2 is an awesome roll, but it really is, because you don't want, this is a mark of how intelligent your followers are. So I have 2 followers in my little cult or whatever, and they're both pretty dumb. They're 2s. So I only have a total now of 5 intelligence because I have that one modifier, plus it says here if I get over 16, I've got to discard a worker. So I am clearly not over 16, so I can place these guys. So the other thing that's neat about this roll too is I rolled doubles. So when you roll doubles, you can place both your guys out. So there's different spaces now where I can put these guys. And so I'm going to just mention where some of these spots are where I can put these guys at. If it has a dotted outline on it, I can put a worker there. And I paid the cost right here, so that's 3 resource cards. Then I get to put a star into the Euphorian territory marker here. But then I also get to move the Euphorian track up some, which I'll get to more. There's the track. So dotted ones, you can do that. There's a lot of dotted spaces. These big spaces are like you can put several workers there over the course of the game. So it also has a range of how many resources you're going to get for each thing. So if I have 1 to 4 pips there, yeah, Jimmy does love stars. If I have 1 to 4 pips showing, I'm going to get a lightning bolt and move the Euphorian track up. If I have 5 to 8, I'm going to get a lightning, electricity, and I'm going to lose an intelligence, which again is a good thing. If I get 9 or more, now all of a sudden I am going to gain 2 electricity and I have to gain an intelligence. So that's kind of a cost, honestly, because what's going to happen is, I mean, hypothetically speaking, as I move this intelligence track up, let's say I get up here to 6, and then I roll. I have a 3rd worker, and I've got like 2 guys rolled out already, and I've got a 6 and a 2, so I'm at 8 plus another 6 up here. So I'm at 14. If I roll anything more than a 2 on this die, I'm over my max intelligence, and I rolled a 4. So now all of a sudden, I've got to ditch my most intelligent worker because I broke that 16 barrier. So that's kind of a neat mechanic in this game. So this 6 guy, he like got wise to the fact that I'm not the best person in the world, and like maybe I'm not like the leader he wants to follow. So he got smart enough to realize I'm not an awesome person, and so he takes off, and I have only 2 workers left now. So that's kind of a cool mechanic in this game with the dice and the maximum intelligence thing. We already talked about this. This is the number of cards you can have. Well, these cards you gain from going different places. And these cards are just artifacts from like the old world. Like a pair of broken glasses. Or we've got a baseball bat. Another baseball bat. And so there's 6 of each of these cards in this deck. And I'm glad 2 baseball bats popped over. Because really the only reason why it really kind of matters what we have on these cards are for 2 reasons. One, if I get a pair of cards, most of the time when it says pay 3 cards, like it says right there, I can pay a pair of these cards instead of 3, and now I get that benefit, okay? Instead of having to pay the 3. So that matters what's on the cards. But the other thing, too, is I'm going to go, this is a good time for me to just go ahead and talk about this. So this is what's kind of cool in this game, too. We have a player aid card. Everybody gets a player aid card. You hand them out at the beginning of the game. Well, this is where, like, I love little secrets. So the player aid card tells me all the different resources and things. It's a good player aid, but you flip it over, and now you have like a secret agenda tile. So these cards are sleeved, so they're kind of hard to see. So I have like a choice that's like what like you would probably do if you were a good leader who was a positive person. And then you also have like I'm a scumball, but I just want to win and get more influence kind of action. So I can choose true love, or I can choose to accept my assigned match, which means like I was genetically matched up with someone to make like beautiful babies or something. I don't know. So in order to do that, I need either 2 resources of any kind or a teddy bear card. And then once I do that, I can flip this over. I can use my turn to flip that over, and then I take one of these stars if I choose that one, and now I've used one of my stars. So something I should have mentioned a long time ago, truthfully, is that this game is really a race. It's a race to get rid of all of these stars here. Everyone has 10 stars. You're trying to get rid of these as quick as you can. So it's pretty standard worker placement. Get goods, use those goods for different things that are going to help you convert things. The things that I want to just mention real quick that are kind of neat on this game, that almost give it like, it's clearly not a social deduction game, but it almost gets like a social deduction feel to it at times, because you have this mining track here. So each of the factions has a mining track except for these dudes in the sky, which we'll talk about those again, like I said, in a second. But these miners here on these mining tracks, if I go there, I can only go to one side. So I have this side marked out. I can't go there. This side I can't go, where it starts. So I go there and I get a citrus, okay? So I put a worker there. Doesn't matter what the worker is, just that I can put him there. And he moves forward on the track 1. And now I pay a citrus, actually. That's my cost. And then I get back a choice of the goods that I want to get, a clay or a card. Now, if I did want to get citrus, I'd have to go to a place where I can get citrus, which, man, that's a little hard to get here at the beginning of the game, isn't it? So I'd have to go to a spot where I get citrus. And citrus is important because if I want to retrieve my workers, I have to pay either a citrus or a bliss. And if I do that, I gain 2 morale. Otherwise, when I retrieve my workers, I lose a morale. So I would like to get that citrus. That'd be really great. The only place I can get it is up here at the farm. And so in order to do that, like I said, the commodity market's there. So let's say I'm playing with Jason, and Jason put a 6 there, okay? And he got to collect a citrus and lose an intelligence. Well, now, look at this. I only have a 2. But it's the cumulative effect. So since he didn't withdraw his workers yet, I get an 8. So I get the same awesome benefit with a 2 that he got with a 6. So that's kind of a neat effect, too. And I get a citrus. And so what I also like about this game is he minimized Jamie and Alan. I guess I shouldn't forget Alan Stone. Alan's a part of the works, too. But Jamie's the face, it feels like. These resources, there aren't that many in here, if you notice. Okay? But that's because you don't need that many because of this clever little card here. So I wish more games did this. So if I get a citrus, I put it there on my 1 citrus. And then if I get another, I can move down to 2. And then 3, And then if I get, 5, I can put 2 citrus here to note that I have 5 citrus total. So that's kind of a neat way to do it too, that I don't need 3 little individual things. The other thing, this is why Stonemaier games are amazing, is that these are the bad components. If you get a treasure chest component, like they're like way cooler than this even, but even then, these are like really nice wooden components. They aren't just little cubes. And they definitely could have been little cubes. I mean, honestly, they could have. So there's nice components in there. So let's get back to this mining track. Here's where the social deduction part of the game almost comes in, is that this miner keeps moving down the track every time I do this action here. Wherever I pay a citrus to get these goods or a card, I keep moving it down the track. And then when I get to here, this is where I'm going to go to these recruit cards I get. So a recruit card, this is what's kind of cool. This recruit card is, he gives me a little ability. So when you place a worker on a generator, farm, cloud mine, or all other players with that, they gain 1 intelligence and you gain 1 morale. So again, morale is good. It lets me carry more cards, and intelligence is bad. It makes the recruits smarten up. That sounds funny. Wisen up to my tactics. And so if I did go here, I went to the farm, I would have gained a morale. So I move up on the morale track, and Jason here, poor Jason would have moved up on the intelligence track. So now he can't have as many pips on his dice without having him break that 16 barrier and have to go away. So that's kind of a neat thing there. But this is where the social deduction part comes in. I have a hidden identity too. So I have an overt identity, and then I also have a hidden identity. So here's my hidden identity too. No one knows about this one except for me. Okay, and it does something for me. But here's the deal. No one knows that I have this identity. So that one's face down. So the Euphorian track is right here. So the Euphorian tunnel, as it gets used, and you get to this space here that says flip your cards, when the miner gets there, now I'm able to flip this card over and say, haha, I was with the Euphorians the whole time too. So the Euphorian track is mine as well. And so that matters because once they get to the end of the tunnel, we uncover these spaces that are so powerful. So now all of a sudden, if I'm Euphorian, I've dug into the ground and I'm able to steal the subterranean people's water. And so now I can, because I have a Euphorian identity here, no one knew that till the very end, I can place a die here, and now I get 3 water. Because I placed my die there because I have a Euphorian. And this is an exclusive action for Euphorian faction people, okay? So I hid the fact that I was Euphorian all the way to here. So maybe Jason here, who I'm playing with, pretending, he has a Euphorian card face up. So the whole time Jason might have been moving that thing down, and I might have just been like, you letting him. I didn't want him to know I had a Euphorian card here. And he does all that hard work, and then all of a sudden, hey Jason, guess what? I get to cash in on your hard work. So, pretty cool there. That's almost like a hidden identity kind of card thing. Now here's the criticism you're going to see of this game on Boardgame Geek, okay? And this criticism, I'm going to go ahead and say, isn't super founded. They say, I am of the school of thought that games should be tight and tension-filled, and when you're able to bump workers, you can bump the workers, and it makes the tension so much less. Whatever. You can bump the workers, okay? So that's like Charterstone. In Charterstone, which people are more familiar with nowadays, you can bump a worker. So Jason wants to go here. Hey, man, he just bumps me out, and I get my guy back. Well, what's that do for me? It gives me my worker back. I get my worker back. So Jason bumped me out. Thanks, Jason. That was a favor. So there's some tension there in deciding that you want to do that. All the spaces are available to Jason, but he gave me a benefit by doing it. I like that. I like that almost better than blocking. The fact that it doesn't punish the other players, but it does give you a little bit of a benefit for picking the right role. So it's almost like going back to games like San Juan or Puerto Rico, where if you can predict the correct role that other people are going to pick, you can get like a little benefit that they don't intend or want to give you. And so the same thing is true in this game. If you pick a spot you think someone else is going to go to, you get a free retrieval almost because someone's going to pull out their guys or bump your guy out. The second thing I want to mention is this. These tiles right here. This is what I think one of the coolest mechanics in this game is. So this game, this blueprint here, it needs to get built. In order to get built, I have to, these lines that are solid mean it's a fixed spot. You can't bump me out of there. I pay 1 gold and I go right there. And then Jason wants to go there too, because guess what? We're playing a 2-player game. And as soon as there are 2 spots of these 4 filled up, we flip this tile over. And Jason wanted to go there because here's why. A couple reasons. First off, we have enough people there now that we're going to flip this tile over. So we flip it over, and this is what's really cool too. The cost of this tile over here, when I flip it over, I cover that part up, and now it becomes a worker placement spot for me. So now my placement costs 4 citrus and a bar of gold, allows me to put a guy here in that spot, and now I move up that track, the subterranean track. I move that up, which I haven't really addressed the tracks yet. Plus, I get to put a star. I get to put a star in the subterranean region, which is right there. And this is kind of clever too, how they balance the game. So there's in a 6-player game. That's right. This game plays 6 players, which is amazing for a worker placement game. You can place stars in up to 6 spots. Now, if I go to that spot, I get to get rid of one of my stars. Again, the whole point of the game is to get rid of my stars. The other thing too is the reason why Jason wanted to get in on this spot is because when we flip it over, everyone who had a worker there drops a star in that building. It's like your Freemasons who are putting your initials in the foundation of the building. So the other thing too is look real carefully there. The star with a little hash through it. If I didn't get there in time, if I didn't help build this building, so let's say Jason built that by, before this thing got built, let's pretend that's flipped over, and Jason has 2 of his die there, and he built that himself. He flipped it over. I can never put one of my stars there. 1. So I can't get a star on there. That was an easy star for him to get on there. But 2, I now don't have a star there. So this is true for me. I can no longer use this recruit's special ability. I can't do that anymore. I'm punished now because I didn't get to be a part of this. So it isn't attention that you're blocking spots, but when I start to go here, so I'm going to flip this guy back over. When I go here, like this, Jason goes, oh crap, there's a timer now. So if I have a stone, Jason knows I have to get there. I have to get there because I don't want to miss out on having that star. Plus, I don't want to get punished. I'm going to get so punished by not being there when that thing flips over. So it's like you almost do force players and create tension with this track here. The final thing I want to mention is this. This is the track that you get. So your recruit that you have face up, Jason's Euphorian, he wants to keep moving this Euphorian track up because he gets like a player power for being a part of that faction. So the first one he gets is when he generates electricity, he gets an additional electricity. Then when he digs in the Euphorian tunnel, usually it's an ore selection. So like either one ore, I get that. It becomes a plus selection. So now I get both those benefits when I dig in the tunnel. So if I can get that faction thing up that much, finally, this right here, if it reaches this part, you flip over your hidden identity. And then finally, if you get it all the way maxed out, you get a star. You get to put a star on your hidden identity that's Euphorian. Okay? So it's eventually a thing where you get to put stars on, but they give you little benefits the whole way through. And so that's something that's kind of fun too. Again, if I'm hiding my Euphorian identity, I'm going to let Jason run that baby up, man. Because he's thinking, I'm running up the subterranean track because that's a benefit to me from what he can see, and I'm running that up, and I'm spending my effort on that. And then Jason might be running this thing up too. And then I am so happy he's doing that because I have my hidden identity here. I'm really a subterranean secretively. I have a spy in his camp or whatever. So let's see what Jason's other identity would have been. Jason's other identity would have been, these dudes, the Icarites or something like that. They're kind of like the punk rock faction. So they don't have any building sites up here at all. In order to use them, they're available from like Action 1 to use their stuff up in the sky. But these guys, their commodity is bliss. And so I almost think of these guys as being like hedonism, like almost like he's like let's just seek pleasure and be happy, and like let's not worry about like having to be stuck in the like life of the people who live on the ground. Let's just live in the sky and let's enjoy our bliss, or suck the bliss out of other people. I don't know, something like that. But at any rate, these guys are kind of their own little weird faction, and then even down here, they're kind of a weird faction too. So they have their own kind of like thing here because they don't have tunnels. So they have their own little benefit there instead. So this game, I would say if you ask people to name Stonemaier Games, say, hey, name 3 Stonemaier games. Well, they're going to name Scythe really quick. They're going to name Charterstone probably pretty quick because it's pretty contemporary. And Viticulture is clearly like their hit game as well. Well, this game I feel like is probably nearly as good or just as good. Now, here's where I want this video to get to Jamie because I want Jamie to address a couple things on this, okay? One, I feel like these cards, this is just me guessing. The fact that there's sets of cards here, there's got to be more. It is a video proving I'm a huge fanboy. I love Stonemaier Games. They're my favorite company by far. Everything they make is just good. So back to track here. These artifacts, there's got to be a reason why they have 6 of them and there's like set collection on them. Like there's got to be a reason. Oh come on, I'm gonna just give a thumbs up to that because it's true. So I'm thinking there's an expansion that was either going to get made at one point where these cards were more important, like set collection got you different resources or something, or there's something in the works there with these cards that I think there's something that can be done with those. And so that's me wondering if Jason, Jamie, not Jason, Jason just gave a thumb. If that's maybe there was an expansion that was ready to go at one point and that just didn't happen. And as far as I know, there's not really an official expansion on this game. But that said, all these tiles flip over. All these tiles have different things you can do. And then one other thing that's kind of neat too. In the FAQ, it said you can put as many stars as you want in these spots. Yes, it is Euphoria. A really good game that is in many ways overlooked. On BGG, this is where Jamie could get clarification for us too if he ends up seeing this video. On BGG, someone said you're only allowed to put 1 star in each of these territories of your color. I think it's only 1 star on these things you build, and you can put as many stars as you want in the territory. Because the frequently asked questions on the website said that. So that's one thing. The other thing too is, oh goodness, what am I doing here? This is what happens when you do videos live. You can't edit anything out. So that's kind of a neat thing too. I want to show you guys one other thing too. This is, if you want to see Fanboy. 1 second here. I'm gonna let you guys just look at that beautiful little chunk of the board there while I grab something. Okay, I'm back. This is the other thing I wanted to show you guys. Leaders of Euphoria. I bought this game at Think Geek on clearance just recently, very recently, because I thought it was a Stonemaier game or an expansion for this one. It sure is not. It's its own standalone game. And if you look down here at the bottom, it says a good cop, bad cop game set in the Euphoria universe. So I would encourage people too. This one's available out there, and I will do a spotlight on this game at some point, but I've already gone on for quite a while, and I appreciate all the people who've watched. This is probably the most watched video I've had, live video I've had. So thank you for watching. Man, it is so fun to have you guys on board, hanging out with us. Jason and I are getting ready to record this week. We'll have an episode up this week. It is just so fun to have you guys be a part of our little group. And you guys are definitely #the riveted. You guys are hardcore original fans here at this point. If you're in the first 500 fans, you've got a special spot in Jason and I's heart for sure. So anyway, this game, I will do a spotlight on it sometime, but it is in my opinion, an improved version of Good Cop, Bad Cop. And it's set in this universe. It's also a super cool game. But this game, the universe was cool enough that somebody thought, hey, I'm going to use that universe to make a standalone game. So anyway, just a beautiful game, what you'd expect from Stonemaier Games. The art is really cool. The colors are really vibrant and really great. And the gameplay is just pretty awesome. If you like just worker placement games, this is just a really, really cool one. A really sleek, just cool worker placement game. Yes, absolutely. Jason and I are so #the riveted lovers ever. The biggest ones ever. So, thank you for all your support, guys, and thank you for watching tonight. Does anybody have any questions? I always try and end with saying, does anybody have any questions? If so, go ahead and type them in now. Or anybody want to see anything in particular in this game? Anybody have any communication they want to do? Jason's in here, too. If you wanted to talk to Jason, you could talk to him right now, too. And then if not, I'm going to in about maybe 30 seconds from now, because I think that's about what the delay is, I'm going to go ahead and call it good. How? John says how. Hi, John. How? Yes, gravity. I don't know. How do you play this one? How do you play this one? Got a minute here, John. If you can get some more information to me, I'll answer your question. But how is a pretty general... How does this compare to viticulture? Oh, that's a good question, Jason. How is it at 2 players? This one scales really well. I would say it's best at 3 or 4. 5, 6 is going to get a little bit of a drag. I've never played it at 6, to be honest with you. Playing it 2, it scales down really well because of these little tiles here. It loses a little of its tension in 2. Plays best of 3, I would say. How does it compare to Viticulture? Viticulture is, man, I'm going to say this. When I did my top 100, this year, my I'm going to see if I can flip this camera around so you can actually like talk to me. Hey, there I am. I've got like some serious bed hair going on or something. So anyway, when I did my top 100 this year, Scythe was like my #1 game. I would say that like this game, Viticulture, probably is growing on me a little yet this year, and so Viticulture might be my top game. This one's not Viticulture; it's not quite as good. But if you've played Viticulture enough that you're like getting kind of like, I don't know, I wouldn't say tired of the game, but if you're like, man, I wish I had something else that had some of the feel to it a little bit of the worker placement and the smooth level of the weight of the gameplay is really similar. The tracks are kind of cool. But otherwise, I mean, Viticulture and this one have the least in common, probably. This one and Scythe have a little more in common, I would say, than Viticulture in this one. Scythe has the stars that you're putting out, which is definitely a thing that he borrowed from this game into Scythe. But this game is solid for sure. I would say if you can pick it up in a cheap trade or you can get a copy, it might be worth doing. And again, this is just one that I wanted to spotlight just because I don't need to spotlight Viticulture. I don't need to spotlight Scythe. People know about that one. People just don't know about this one near as much. So, any other questions? Anything else? If you didn't get a chance to look last week, right there is Cinque Terre. I did a spotlight of that one last week. That's a good one to check out. It's a cool game. About 10 seconds, I'm going to call it quits, guys. Any questions, comments? Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. Like, thank you. Man, the lighting in here is really weird. And my hair is really bad. I'm really overdue for a haircut. Look at that. That's some, like, Christopher Lloyd-sized hair. Anyway. Like Christopher Lloyd, Back to the Future, but, like, brown hair. All right, guys. Thank you for your support. Stay cool. We will have a podcast out this week. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts at. Look for Board Game Mechanics and subscribe. A lot of cool things in the works. I know Jason's been working his tail off on the social media side and on the publicity side and lining up guests. So we have guests that I can't believe are going to be on our show. Like, we have guests coming that I'm not going to say who they are, but we have guests that I'm like, why on earth are they going to come on our podcast? Like, what are they getting out of this? Other than they're just awesome people who want to, like, support us. So keep listening, and, like, you'll figure out who those people. You'll be confused. I would disconnect there for a second. You'll be confused too. You'll be like, wait, how did Joel and Jason get, like, this guy to come on their podcast? And you'll be, like, just blown away by it for sure. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This has been a lot of viewers. I really appreciate it. Never had this kind of crowd watch us when we do something live. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up now. Take care, guys. Thanks for being here.